everyone, it is Epi here, and today we're going to be doing a map tier list. That's a map tier list, a weapon tier list for Splatoon 2. This is like my Splatoon 2 stage tier list video. I've been wanting to do this earlier, but unfortunately, my old laptop decided to have a stroke and die. So this is going to be a bit of a very, very late video, but I just wanted to get this over with for a long time. And once again, these are all based on my opinion, and also just because I've been playing Splatoon 2 for quite some time. So, yeah, I'm just going to go based on opinion, and we're just going to get started. And we're just going to work our way through our weapons here. And yeah, we're just going to go. Alright, so that being said, let's continue. So, starting off on bottom tier, Sploosh, Vanilla Sploosh. This kit just does not work for this weapon whatsoever. Curling Bomb is okay, it's a moving tool, but it's because Sploosh has no range, and also because Curling Bomb literally is just used in a straight line most of the time. It is a very predictable straight line that can be seen from anybody's point of view, and it can just be expected. And it has Splashdown, which is one of the most easiest cancelable specials in this entire series. In fact, I think it's just not fun. It's just not good. Splashdown gets canceled out of the air more times than it can count. In lower ranks, it can thrive off of that because lower ranks struggle to actually cancel Splashdown, and most of the time, well, you try to attempt to do it. But as you get higher in the ranks and you play against more people who are experienced at playing against Splashdown players, you'll get canceled more often than you think. It's just not a good special overall. It's designed terrible. Sploosh Neo also goes here as well. It is not good. It's a slightly better kit. It does not have a bomb, and for some reason they gave it Beacon, which I don't know how to feel about. Beacon's not a terrible sub, but for a short range weapon like this, that also has a special such as missiles that does not allow it to really move in that often, or poke weapons from a longer distance, it makes it entirely bad. And missiles, despite being able to spam it more, that's really the only thing this weapon is good for, which is spamming missiles. It still suffers the fate of just not being able to really go in. The missiles is made to just be something to push in, but you have to use it from a distance because popping missiles in front of somebody is like the worst idea ever. Obviously, you're just leaving your effective range by popping your special. This is what I'm trying to say. So this also stays here. Sploosh 7 goes up here. Now, Sploosh is still a really strong main weapon for the most part, and now, despite these two kits, unlike these two kits, it has Spot Bomb, which is the best sub it could have ever gotten because it allows it to poke others from a distance, and it has Stamp, which actually is probably the best thing ever. It works along with its aggressiveness. It can get stamped pretty often. I'm not going to say pretty often. It gets stamped pretty efficiently. It gets it really well. So it has a good kit, and the main weapons is actually still strong. So it can work. It works pretty well. It's not as high as, say, anything up here. But it's mid at best. It's like just minimum mid. So yeah. Moving on to a bit closer to meta. Vanilla Junior S tier. This kind of gets outshined a lot by let's say Inzap, because Inzap has a better pokeable bomb, and also I think has less points of special too. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure Vanilla Inzap has a less points of special on its armor. This thing is still good to run this though. You can still run it along with Inzap. I don't think it's as bad. Its Spot Bomb is really nice, and of course, its ability to get armor pretty efficiently also makes it a pretty good top tier. It's a good support weapon. This is a really good support weapon. Switching from over to S tier back into bottom tier. I'm sorry, but C Junior, yeah, D tier. The kit for this weapon isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world. Auto Bomb is okay, but Rain is just no. The thing that makes Junior so strong in Splatoon 2 is that it has the ability to spam specials and bombs effectively. While it can spam auto bombs effectively if it has the right gear for it, Rain is not spammable. In no way is Rain spammable. When you throw Rain, your meter drains down slowly, so you have to wait for Rain to end in order to charge up another one. And while you're waiting for that, Junior is basically useless unless it's throwing auto bombs, and even then, it's not really doing much by doing that. So its kit is kind of where it falls apart here, which is unfortunate because the other one's really good, a really good sub weapon too. Uh, it has the worst. It's not. It's a mediocre main weapon until you realize it has the strongest bubble combo in the entire game. Torpedo and bubble just pops instantly. You can throw one torpedo if you lock onto someone and you pop a bubble, it explodes instantly. I'm not even joking. It explodes on contact with hitting that bubble. You don't even need object share sometimes, and you can just do the. You can also do normal bubble combo, but it is stronger to lock onto someone and just pop a bubble after throwing it, which just makes this why this is C tier. If the bubble combo was absolute dog shit, it would go here by far. It would definitely go, but because it's able to do the bubble combo and do one of the best bubble combos in the game, it goes to C tier. It goes into where Swoosh is, where it is completely made. Splash also goes up here. Splash is a really strong main weapon for the most part. It still has good mobility. Its kit is where it starts to fall apart. Toxic Mist, while not being a worst sub, and it actually is one of the worst subs in the game. Splash needs a bomb in order to actually do anything in this game. It needs a bomb. Like like Splash being able to combo off of things like Burst Bomb or even Suction Bomb is what makes it so strong. And because of this, it just makes it a bit weaker. Inkjet is okay for Inkjet's actually pretty good for it, one of the good specials in the game. So it's not necessarily bad. But yeah, overall, because of its kit, it goes on here. If its kit was better, it'd probably go either A or B. Switching from that back to meta again, we have our first X tier, Splash. I don't think this weapon is just good because of its kit, and also once again, the main weapon Splash is really strong. It has good mobility, it has good damage, and it actually has a kit, so its kit actually helps it as well. Suction Bomb Rush being one of the best bomb rushes in the entire game because it applies a lot of pressure and paints a lot. And Burst Bomb just allows it to combo better and help it with its mobility even more. It can paint its feet pretty well, and it just does everything correctly. It's a good main weapon. It's a good kit. So yeah, it's just up here. Arrow Spray. Yeah, no, this kit does not work. Completely forgot what kit this has. It's not Cabernet. Suction Bomb is a good poking tool for it. It's a good bomb for it. But it has Curling Bomb Rush, which is one of the worst bomb rushes in the game, because curling bombs do not explode on impact and they take a lot of paint. It paints a lot. But for the most part, you're not going to see anybody run this. I think I saw a team run this once in a competitive. I don't remember necessarily what it was called, but I think I saw a team play against Starbucks with this. I could be wrong. But yeah, you're not going to really find much usability with this thing. So this is not a good weapon. Just like this one, this is not a good weapon. It has Sprinkler, which is a mediocre sub at best. Sprinkler decays in this game, so it's just not a good sub weapon because of that. And it has Baller, which is one of the bad HP specials in this game that do not work for it whatsoever. If Baller still had its buff, if Baller still had its buffs like it did in earlier patches, it would have been probably a B tier at most. Maybe C tier. Possibly B tier, but maybe C tier at mostly. But because Baller's just been nerfed to the ground, it's just here now. So yeah, it's not good. This goes to C tier. Aerospray PG goes to C tier. It has Burst Bomb, which helps it paint its speed and helps with its gives it a bit more mobility. And it has Booyah Bomb, which is just a good panic button that allows you to displace the team. Aerospray is not still. That being said, Aerospray is not a good fragging weapon whatsoever, and it's not made for killing. So because of that, it suffers the fate of just not being a good. Its main weapon just sucks. Aerospray as a main weapon just isn't strong as well. Spire Shot goes into D tier. So the thing about this that sucked the most to me for Spire Shot is that it has a good. Spire Shot is a strong main weapon, and its sub is literally Burst Bomb. So it has a good combo tool, but it has Splashdown, and that is kind of what makes this weapon bad because it has Splashdown. And once again, Splashdown is just easily cancelable and just easily predictable. It drops the same height every time, unless you jump from a ledge or something, and it could just be punished so easily. It's just unfortunate that this weapon suffers the fate of having a bad special, but having a good sub and a main weapon. So yeah, another weapon that is close to being meta, but just not quite. 10 attack, Spider Shot. Splat Bomb is one of the best bombs that Tentec could get. That's it, Tentec. That spot that a shooter can get because it allows you to poke people from a distance and you can combo with it a bit well as displace people. And Inkjet is one of the best specials in the game. It helps allows its mobility. It can poke long distance weapons a bit as long as it's just good enough. And honestly, Inkjet kind of has that risk factor design where you can either clutch the game and make a play that allows you to make a comeback, or it misses their shots, expires, and just throws the game. But overall, because it's on Splash Shot, it's probably not going to matter that much. Splash Shot with Lava is already a good enough combo, so Inkjet kind of just makes it even more powerful. So yeah, that's three. Kansas Fire Shot, another meta weapon. Kansas Fire Shot has Suction Bomb, which is one of the best bombs in the game, and it has Tenon Missiles, which is one of the best specials in the game. Tenon Missiles just allow you to displace the entire team for free without any try. And unlike in Splatoon 3, where you cannot spam them anymore, you can spam them in Splatoon 2. So it just makes this a good farming tool. Also, 190p missiles. Yeah, this thing just gets missiles pretty quickly. It's still a good main weapon too, and so it just has it's like Tentec, but way better because it has a better bomb. Octoshot goes the same tier as Tentec. It's the same thing as Tentec, same weapon, same kit, does the same thing. It's not really all that different from Tentec. It's the same weapon, just a different model. So yeah. Vanilla Gal. It goes up to B. I'm gonna put it at B tier. Its kit is still bad. But not bad. But point scissor, it's just no. Point scissors, no. Point scissors on a shooter like this that's made to frontline and get kills. It's just no. And 52 Deco has Culling Bomb and Stingray. The problem with its kit, this weapon is its kit. Curling Bomb is decent. Okay, it's somewhat of a good movement tool for it, but Gal needs a wall. Gal really desperately needs a wall. And Stingray for shooters, especially ones that are short range, are just really bad because it forces you to play out of your it forces you out of your effective range. You have to back away from your effective range and use it in a spot because Stingray relies on long distance. It relies on distance a lot, but I can thing we all know is the farther away Stingray is, the more effective it is at moving people, and the less it takes to aim. So yeah, it's just more better. That being said, this is one of the best weapons in the entire game. In fact, it's so good that Splash is really that. In fact, almost every weapon that's up here once I'm done with this is the only thing that can really fight Gal. These are the only K-Shot, Splash, and two other weapons that I have yet to get in here into this tier are also going to be up here because they are the best weapons at dealing with this. That being said, Gal is fit to as wall, so it has a tool to protect itself and force people to move. And it has Booyah Bomb, which is a panic button that literally displaces that can displace an entire team and paints its feet pretty well. So yeah, this thing basically is a tank with a quick kill time. So yeah. Inzap, also top tier. This thing outclasses Junior, or at least it doesn't outclass, at least it competes with Junior in a way, because both these specials have armor. The only thing that gets its X rank is because it has a better bomb, which is Suction, and also it has more range and more mobility. So yeah, just kind of it's a bit better. It's very close, but Inzap is very just better because it just does more than Junior. Inzap 89, this can go over here. I don't think it's necessarily bad. It's not bad whatsoever. Ends up 89 is completely fine. I don't think it's the worst thing ever. Auto Bomb is okay. It has missiles, which I guess is somewhat decent. You can run this in a comp, honestly. I don't think you can't run this comp. You can somewhat run this in a comp. I don't think it's too bad to not do it. But for the most part, it's not really as good as this one, which has a better bomb and a better special. Missiles just kind of aren't good in this game. You have a weapon that is a decent main weapon, but its kit absolutely ruins it. I think this thing still has point scissor. It has. I forgot this thing's kit. Its kit is not good though. Its kit is decent at most. I forgot its kit, but its kit is just kind of what mainly kills it. The main weapon is decent at best, but for the most part, this is just not a good kit for it, and it just kind of was the reason why it is a low tier. Pro, same thing. A point marker, not point sensor, which is not. It just doesn't have a bomb, and it has rain. While it is 170p, it's rain, so it just won't matter, and it can't spam effectively anyway. So it's just bad. You can still stack main power up on it, but it just gets terrible. It's just really not good. 4 just outclassed by Squeezer completely. Just it's the worst Squeezer. This thing has RNG. Is a 3-shot, and its bubble combo is more ink hungry than usual. This thing is a worse Squeezer. Squeezer has perfect jump RNG. It has a built-in pain mode, and its bubble combo is actually less ink hungry and easier to do. Yeah. So yeah, this just gets outclassed by Squeezer, and it's mid tier again. For Kenza Pro is a tier. So this weapon has had the biggest fall off out of any shooter, at least in Splatoon 2. This thing used to be a good weapon until main power up got nerfed with it, and this thing eventually you had to stack more main power up, even more main power up as the patches progressed in order to actually even 3-shot with this thing. And it just kind of is the reason why this thing is not used in comps anymore. It just is not as good. 96. I'm gonna put this at B tier. Sprinkler is decent for the most part. And Ink Armor is good. Ink Armor is once again a good special, so it's not terrible for it. If it had this one had a wall, it probably would have been good, but it's decent at most. So I'm gonna put this here. I'm gonna put it as C rank. The thing about 96 is that, just like Splash Shot, it has a good sub weapon. Wall is really good for 96 because it plays a lot. Gal plays really well off of wall. Both 96 and 52 play off of wall very well. The unfortunate thing that, unlike 52, it gets killed by Splash Shot. So they give it the best sub it could have ever gotten, and then they give it the worst special in the game. So yeah, unfortunate. Transitioning over back to meta though. Boom and boom. Both of these are just special farming tools. Their kits are decent. Toxic Mist on Jet Scorcher actually somewhat works because it has range, and Toxic Mist slowing players down could help it a lot with its range at poking from a far away distance. Missiles are able to be spammed. Same thing for Custom Jet. You can just spam Stingray, and it has Burst Bomb, which is an amazing poking sub that allows it to paint its feet better. So yeah, this just because these two can paint their feet from a far away distance, and they're special spammers, is what makes them top tier in this game. Luna Blaster. I'm actually gonna put both the Luna Blasters here. Both of these are absolute dog water. Baller once again. Luna Blaster Spot Bomb is okay for Luna Blaster. Is probably the best I could ever get, but it has Baller, which is a bad HP special that does not work for it as well. Luna Neo has Ink Mine and Splat Bomb. Splat Bomb Rush is not as bad, but Ink Mine is not good for Luna whatsoever. It needs a bomb. It really needs a bomb. So yeah, it's just not good. Its kit kind of kills it. Because Luna is only good for rain for special spam, not special spam, for fizzy spam. That's literally it. If you run it, literally fizzy spam is the only thing that's good for that. And even then, Gluga Dualies like Kenza Glugas do it better than this weapon because it has a special that actually helps it move in. Rain isn't necessarily bad, but like, dude, it's just rain for a Luna Blaster. I don't know how to feel about this. This thing is basically a painter, like this weapon, whereas it doesn't have bubbles, but it paints well. That's all I can really say about it. But unlike Junior, where it's still somewhat good for Kenza Junior, because it still paints somewhat decently, Luna does not paint, and just because it has fizzy and rain does not mean it's aggressive. It cannot be that aggressive because it does not have something to combo off with. Now we're going to get into the actual blasters that's going to generally make me upset here because it just breaks my heart. F tier. I was going to put F tier. Vanilla Blaster. Toxic Mist is possibly the worst sub this weapon could have ever gotten because Blaster is extremely short ranged and Toxic Mist does not do anything for it unless the enemy just is stupid enough and just does not notice them. And it has Splashdown. Once again, Splashdown is not a good special for Blaster, and Blaster kind of just sucks at paying his feet anyway, so it's just, yeah, it's not a good special. Not good kit, not a good weapon. Custom Blaster is only a tier higher because it has Inkjet and Auto Bomb. Inkjet is a good special, and Auto Bomb actually is a sub that can poke people from a distance and cause them to move. The thing that makes me really sad about this is that it gets hard carried by this kid. Both of these, but I'm gonna put these both up here actually. Both of these weapons get hard carried by their kids. Suction Bomb for Range Blaster is decent. Rain isn't as bad for it, but it's just this thing just needs something to make it play more aggressive. And Grim just gets carried by his kid. But Range Blasters, or at least Auto Blasters, have jump RNG. But for Range Blasters specifically, it sucks because these weapons literally depend on jumping for movement. This class depends on jumping for movement. And because jump RNG exists, these cannot do anything that well, and they just aren't as good as they used to be in 1. They're just not for the plan. Custom Blaster. Why did I put that there? Custom Blaster goes down here. Because I don't know what they're thinking about doing with the kit. I really don't know what they were doing with the kit. First of all, Curling Bomb on a Range Blaster. Range Blaster is already ink hungry enough. And Curling Bomb already takes up enough ink. So it makes it incredibly ink hungry. And Bubble Blower on a Range Blaster. Why would that be good? Blasters do the least amount of object damage in this game. I am serious. They do the least amount of object damage in this game. They have the least amount of object damage. They do 150, and every other weapon does more than 150. So it just cannot shred anything. It cannot shred bubbles, and even with the Curling Bomb, it's still not easy to use. So this weapon just is not good. Another Clash, D tier. The only reason this thing is good is because of its kit. Spot Bomb isn't as bad, but once again, because of Stingray. While Stingray is still a good special. Not in terms of its design, but more like just because, it's Stingray. It forces this weapon to move out of its effective range to back up and use it. So it's just not good because of that. Clash Neo goes C tier because it has Curling Bomb, which works with its maneuverability. It helps a lot with its movement. And it has Missiles, which is a special it can actually play off of because it can actually farm missiles with Curling Bomb and maybe even with his main weapon sometimes. Just going to go into the same tier as the rest of these weapons. Ink Mine is not good whatsoever for Rapid. And Spot Bomb Rush, while it isn't a bad main weapon, it's still mediocre at best. And Rapid depends a lot on bombs to really combo with in this game. So yeah, it's just not good. Rapid Deco isn't bad either. It still goes here because this kit is still not good whatsoever. I don't know what they were thinking with the kit. It's just not fun. I think Toxic Mist Range just isn't fun to play with. Kenza Pro can go into A tier. This is the best blaster in this game. Not even joking. This and also another one for the game too soon. This is the best blaster. This is one of the best blasters in this entire in Splatoon 2. This is one of the best blasters. There's 2 of them. I should probably explain why. Torpedo is a really good poking comboing tool. It can reach things from distance, and it works really well for distracting people. And so you can run out with your main weapon and just pressure them even more with the torpedo and your main weapon. And Ball Baller isn't the best special for it. It does keep it alive a bit longer, which actually works with Rapid because Rapid can actually somewhat ping his feet better and use Ball to his advantage, so it isn't bad. Don't really put this up there. This is not a bad weapon, but Toxic Mist combined with Rain just isn't good either. It's not the best thing in the world. Toxic Mist can somewhat play off of Toxic Mist because it can slow people down, and once again, Rapid has the most range out of all the blasters, so it can work off of that a bit. But Rain is a weird special for Blaster because blasters can't paint well, and while it does help with its painting ability, that's not a special it can use to its advantage. At least that well. So yeah, it's just not good for stuff. This is another one of the blasters that are actually really good. Wall is actually surprisingly works really well with this because once again, Rapid has range, and it having a wall apparently actually keeps it protected. Also, it has armor, and despite blasters not being able to paint that well as any other weapon, I think Rapid actually paints the best out of all these blasters because of its fire rate and actually it's in its range and its painting range. So it actually can get ink armor a bit more efficiently than any other thing. I think a team in Area Cup Splatoon 2 actually won a major with this combo. So yeah, yeah, works pretty well. I think they used the K52 in this one too. So yeah, pretty good. Nose. I mean, this is vanilla. This is not good. I feel bad for this. Curling Bomb in Baller isn't necessarily bad for Nose. Curling Bomb, it can work off a Curling Bomb pretty well. Baller, once again, bad HP special, and it gets shredded pretty often. It can get it pretty often, but it's just not as good because of its just because of its kit. The main weapon isn't as bad either. It does not have jump RNG like it does in 3, but it's decent at best. That's all I can say, guys. I'll put it in B tier. Sure, I'll put it in B tier. This can go to A tier here. This weapon is honestly pretty good. Burst Bomb is an incredible poking tool that actually combos really well with this weapon. And once again, Inkjet is just really nice. This weapon used to be meta in the few early days, probably like I'd say in like the midterms of Splatoon 2's lifespan. This was a meta weapon, so this will actually work pretty well for comps. Kane also knows. This can also go into B tier. Splash Ball isn't bad for it. It's a decent cell weapon. And the Stamp actually works pretty well with it as well because it can push it and be aggressive. Vanilla Nose is disappointing because it has one of the best specials in the game, but it has Point Sensor, which is one of the worst subs in the game, which upsets me to say that. It has Ink Armor, not Ink Armor, it has Missiles, which is one of the best specials in the game, which can recon it from very far away. It can get it somewhat often, but for the most part, its kit kind of just kills it. Nose is still a somewhat solid main weapon, but this thing's kit, it needs a bomb, so it's just bad because of that. Let's be honest there. H3 knows. This one works really well. It has a bomb. It's basically NZAP. This thing also used to be meta in Splatoon 2's midterm lifespan because these two weapons had the same kit, but the reason why this is more better was because this had less points of special for armor than NZAP did. But then Nose got more points of special, and then NZAP had less points of special for ink armor. So this ended up being the better weapon of the two. But it's still a pretty solid main weapon. Its kit is pretty nice. Suction mods for it. It's pretty nice. Armor works as well. And H3 just honestly is a really good weapon too. This weapon tried to be what Splatoon 1 was, where it had a wall and bubble. Big Baller does not work the same as Bubbler. And wall is really good for it. Big Baller does not Big Baller. Baller does not work the same as Bubble Blower. So it does not work that well with its kit. And Bubble Blower just needs something to shred, needs a bomb in order to actually be effective. It can still control space for the most part, but it needs a bomb in order to be more effective than it is. Squeezer B rank. Squeezer has wall, which is decent for it, but wall is decent for Squeezer, but it has Stingray, which is just not a good special for it because once again, just like there's like 52 deco and just like where is it? I'm trying to find it. I can really just use one example here, but because of 52, yeah, mainly because of 52 deco and another weapon that's on it. And 52 deco and Clash Buster. You have to move out your effective range in order to use your special because then it's not going to be as effective. Trying to frontline with Stingray is just not possible and it can get you killed more times than you can count. So yeah, Squeezer just isn't fun. Full Squeezer, not Full Squeezer. Vanilla Squeezer isn't bad, but its kit kind of just Squeezer. Stingray was not one of the best specials it could have gotten. That being said, this is the last metal weapon. I'm pretty sure that is up here. Yep, the last metal weapon that's up here is a Foil Squeezer. And the reason why this is because this is the best Bubble Blower weapon in the game. Squeezer, like I said when I said it outclasses Forge because it's just a better weapon overall. It has a better bomb, it has a built-in painting mode, it has perfect jump RNG with its firing mode, with the second firing mode, and it just has it has a strong bubble combo. It's not the strongest in the game, but unlike Junior, where this thing relies on it so much, this can still be this is a solid main weapon that can carry its own weight even without its kit. So yeah, it's pretty strong. It can its bubble combo works really well. So yeah, it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. Really good weapon. This carbon goes here. So the thing that kills this is the fact that it has rain and autobomb. Autobomb is not one of the worst stuff in the game, but rain with a carbon, rain once again, putting rain on a weapon that is supposed to be aggressive. Same thing with this weapon. This does not same thing with this weapon. Same thing with this weapon. Putting rain on a weapon that's supposed to be aggressive is not a good idea. It just does not work that well. It is decent for it, but it is not the best option in the world, and it honestly makes the main weapon weaker than it should be. That being said, Carbon goes up here because it has Burst Bomb. Carbon having Burst Bomb is just what makes it really strong. Makes it really strong. Carbon being able to combo off of a bomb is what makes it so powerful. And while it does have All About Launcher, which isn't the worst special in the game, but it's not really the best for it, it's still pretty solid, and honestly the main weapon and the sub kind of carries it anyway, so yeah. I'm putting this here with D tier. It has Curling Bomb, which is the best sub that roller could get because it helps with movement a lot. But then it gets Splashdown once again, like this weapon and like this weapon. It has Splashdown, so it's just not usable whatsoever. And it only relies on being aggressive, which even then doesn't work that well, so this roller kind of needs to be accurate. It's just not fun. So I'm sorry if you see this video. No, this weapon does not work whatsoever. Squid Beacon is okay for it. Squid Beacon works pretty well. It helps your team out a lot, and it makes Roller a bit more aggressive. But Curling Bomb is such a better sub, and Baller once again is just a bad HP special. So it just isn't powerful, actually. I'll put it in D tier, honestly. I think it's Baller is still a better special than Splashdown for sure. But Splashdown not Splashdown, but Baller man, it's just a bad HP special. It's not fun. The kit carries this thing. The kit literally carries this. Spot Bomb is a good poking tool, and Bubbler Bubble Blower is okay. It's okay for it. It can do the bubble combo pretty well even without the bomb. But for the most part, this is not going to see use. This is not going to see use, and it gets outclassed by Squizzer anyway, so, I mean, yeah. Vanilla Dynamo. D tier. Dynamo is still somewhat a solid weapon. For the most part, it's still bad. Now, in this game, it's still bad because its damage and pain capacity is just absolutely terrible. At times it is really dependent on RNG, where at times it is actually pretty good, and then other times it is absolutely terrible, and it just makes no sense of why it even costs that much ink to blink anyway, if it's not the same flick every time. So yeah, it just sucks. It has its kit. It makes it all the worse because Ink Mine, while not being the worst sub for it, kind of just isn't good either because it kind of needs something to paint its feet. And while Ink Mine can do that somewhat, Sprinkler just does it so much more better. And Stingray no. Stingray on a roller, no, hell no. That's bad. That's like the worst thing it could have ever gotten. Why it'll force you to move out of your effective range, but even more, at the very least, you don't have to move that far away in order to use Stingray. This thing might have to jump back. This thing actually has to jump back to spawn in order to even use Stingray. So yeah, it's just not good. The thing that carries this is this kit. Dynamo is still a painfully mediocre main weapon. And Splat Bomb and Armor are the only two things that really carry this. Splat Bomb is a good poking tool, while it does cost a lot of ink and kind of makes Dynamo kind of useless. Ink Armor is once again a strong special, so it does not matter that much. So it puts it into C tier. It just gets hard carry basket. Same thing with Dynamo. This thing has Sprinkler, which while it isn't the best sub weapon in the world, it at least paints its feet more decently. It can get its special a bit more quicker. And it has Booyah Bomb, which is one of the best specials in the game, and actually keep this thing alive a bit longer while also meeting the famous feat and move others. So it actually puts it up here too. This is also another weapon that gets carried by his kit. Vanilla flings a no. This goes D tier. I'm sorry. Splash wall on a roller. Why would you want that? I don't understand what was the point of this at all. The only thing that is useful for is this just being able to protect it during its bomb rush. And even then it's not even that useful for it. It's still ink hungry, and again the fact that flings it takes a lot of ink anyway if it's vertical, it kinda just ruins this weapon's ability to spam specials. And it not having a bomb makes it even all the worse. So yeah, no, D tier. This goes up to B tier. Actually, no, A tier. This has the same kit as K-Shot, but it's a bit weaker because it has I think it has a bit more points for specials if I'm correct. And it has Suction Bomb. It has the same kit, but it has more points for specials, so that's kind of what causes it. If it had more points for special, it'd probably be up here or even have a chance of going up here. But it has more points for special, so unfortunately, yeah, it goes here. Vanilla Brush. D tier. This weapon, like Roller, has a good sub weapon, and the main weapon's also decent, but it has Splashdown, so it's just not good. And I'm not gonna repeat myself when it comes to saying the same thing over again. Splashdown is just not a good special for this weapon or any of these weapons that are meant to be aggressive. It's just not good for it. I think Splash Shot, not Splash Shot. I think Burst on Bay you can honestly be a B tier. It's actually a somewhat decent kit. It has Light Baller, which is one of the best ballers in the game because it just turns so quick, and it just speeds up so quick. It's actually a really good. This is a really good special for it. It works well with Brush. Ink Mine works well with Brush too. It can just camp out people and just provide information to your teammates. You can also just it's really good. It works well with Permanent, surprisingly. Speaking of Permanent Brush, feature, it's not as bad. It's better than Vanilla Brush, but it's not as good as Novayu. This thing has Sprinkler and it has ink armor. So Sprinkler isn't, once again, Sprinkler like in Dynamo. It's not bad. It can help the weapon get special quicker. Brush is still a solid main weapon, and ink armor isn't bad as well. But this thing needs a bomb. This thing actually needs a bomb. Ink Mine works with this thing because it has Baller, and Ink Mine just kind of can be comboed with. It can combo with Ink Mine. But this weapon having Sprinkler makes it feel extremely weird to play. If it had a bomb, this would definitely be either the same tier as Permanent or at least an A tier. But unfortunately, its kit is what causes it to be down here. Vanilla Brush can go as a C tier. I don't think this is a bad weapon. Octobrush is decent at most. Autobomb is okay for it. Inkjet actually works pretty well with it, but it having Autobomb feels kind of a bit iffy, and I don't think it's the best that we could have gotten. And becoming a tier below it, D tier. Octobrush no Veyu is not. It's a good. Octobrush is still a solid main weapon, but beacons for Octobrush is a bit weird as well. And antenna missiles on a brush, no, I don't think that's not even. I don't even think that's a good idea. I don't know why they do it. They basically gave it the sploosh Neo treatment. The kit does not work for it at all. This weapon is meant to be aggressive, and missiles, along with the fact that it doesn't have a bomb, does not allow it to be as aggressive as it's supposed to be. So yeah, no. Squiffer goes up here. It has point sensor, but that does not matter because Squiffer is still a solid strong. Actually, no, it's still a solid strong. Put it B tier actually because it's actually not even that bad. Squiffer is still a solid main weapon because it can hold its charge. It can charge in midair, which allows it to jump shot, and the stack ability with main power up to increase its paying range actually allows it to be a better main weapon as well. So yeah, it's capable point. Now, if it did not have point sensor, but had a bomb, it would probably be up either A or even an S because it having a bomb actually would make this extremely strong. But it does not have a bomb, so it goes here. New Squiffer is a C tier. Ink Mine is okay. Yeah, it's not bad for Squiffer, but it's not the best thing in the world. Baller is a bad HC special that just does not work with Squiffer whatsoever. It does help it be a bit more aggressive. I'm not sure if it's light or medium. It could be medium, but yeah, Squiffer just does not work for this. Baller does not work for this Squiffer. No. New Squiffer has Suction Bomb. Not New Fresh Squiffer has Suction Bomb and Inkjet. Squiffer is still a solid main weapon as always, but Inkjet feels a bit iffy with it, and Suction Bomb is okay. I'll put it at C rank with New Squiffer. Honestly, that is not a bad kit whatsoever. That's a really good kit, but it's just Ink Armor is just so strong in this game, and Squiffer having a special that makes it a bit more aggressive kind of just does not feel right as a charger. So yeah. Spy Charger goes up here to A rank, and the only reason I'm even putting it up here is because it has a good kit. Spy Bomb is amazing as a solo weapon. It helps it poke, it paints its feet. It's a quick getaway to like expect yourself from shooters if you like Spy Charger, you main Spy Charger. It's a good spacing tool. And Stingray is just Stingray, one of the best footers in the game. Obviously makes people move a lot. Is really strong. So yeah. Firefin can also go on the same tier. I don't think it's as bad. I think it's honestly the same rate. Splash Ball with this charger actually works pretty decently. Bomb Rush, I think Soldier Bomb also works pretty well. It's not as good as Stingray, for sure. It's definitely not as good as Stingray. But yeah, it's not as bad. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I think Firefin is honestly on the same level though. Kansas Spy Charger. C tier. The kit does not work with this thing at all. Sprinkler helps it get special and paints its feet pretty well, and it paints it decently. But Baller is like the last special it should have gotten. Like this thing should have not gotten Baller like whatsoever. I don't know what they were thinking with that. Baller does not work well with this thing at all, and Sprinkler it does not have a bomb or something that can protect itself with, so it just does not end up being a good main weapon, or just a good weapon in general. Spy Charger and Firefin go up here. The same thing as I said about honestly all the Charger kits, all the skull variants of these kits can just go into their respective rank with the same weapon. It's the same weapon. They have a bit more range, but they do exactly the same thing. They're just other options if you want to be like that. E-Leader can be a B tier. I don't think E-Leader is as bad, like, whatsoever. It's still a pretty strong main weapon. It has a decent kit. Inkmine's honestly is good stuff for it. Brain isn't a bad special for it. It's decent at best. But for the most part, you're not going to be really, not really going to be using this. Unless you will rarely see E-Leader main use this in this game sometimes. And besides, the scope variant is better than it anyway. Custom variant goes on here in C rank. It's not good. Its kit is absolutely terrible. E-Leader is still a good main weapon, but Beacons is just no. It works with a backline because they can plant them in areas that help their team, and it's just other spots that it can jump to if it needs to reposition itself. It does make that a lot easier with Beacons. But this thing having what special does it have? Bubbler. This thing having Bubble Blower? No. God, no. This is not good special, like, whatsoever. It's actually the worst thing could have gotten ever. Not even fun to play on. It's just, no. Like, I don't know what they were thinking about this, but it does not work whatsoever. You can't even pop the bubbles effectively, so, yeah, no. Oops. Actually, sorry. Sprinkler, not Sprinkler, that's the custom variant. What am I doing? Both the custom variant and the normal variant of the scopes can go with their charger as well. Those do the exact same thing, just a bit more range as always. Bamboozler S tier. This weapon is not bad whatsoever. It has curling bomb, which helps it with maneuverability. It helps it move in pretty nicely, and it has missiles, which it can actually get pretty effectively because of its pain range. It can't spam them as much as per se like a Spy Shot or Flingza, but it can get them pretty well. It can still charge up missiles and get them pretty decently. And honestly, this thing in main power, and of course because the main power of this thing is just extremely strong too. If you touch frame for one, if you touch enemy ink for one frame, this thing hits you, you're dead. It's just a one shot kill. No questions. MK2 C tier. The kit of this thing kills it. While bamboo is still a solid weapon, but its kit does not help this thing at all. Kit for bamboo just isn't fun. It just does not work as well, and it's honestly the worst kit out of all three. So yeah, no, just not good. Honestly, I'll put the K2 in tier. In C tier MK3, this not bad. Its kit works somewhat because you can still combo with a fizzy and a bubble, but for the most part, bamboo is supposed to be aggressive, and this having big bubbler, I said big bubbler again. This having this having bubble blower is way better than it's way better than like any other special. But for the most part, this having big bubbler just does not play well with its aggressiveness at all. It can still pop the bubbles effectively, but for the most part, it's just no. GooTuber, bottom tier. This is not a good weapon. Suction Bomb is a good sub for it, but once again, like Vanilla Fire Shot, like 96 Gal, like Vanilla Blaster, just like any other weapon that has splash on here that can be aggressive, it does not work for whatsoever. Splash on is the worst special in this game. It gets cancelled too easily, and also just isn't fun to play with. So yeah, no, just terrible. The only reason this is a tier higher than it is because it doesn't have splash down. It has curling bomb, which isn't the worst thing in the world. It can help its maneuverability a bit more. But GooTuber is just hard outclassed by Squidward. Like, not even trying to be funny, it gets hard outclassed by Squidward for literally like every reason. It has a better charge hold, it's quicker charge time, it can shoot mid-air, it has a somewhat better kit. It just outclasses GooTuber. And while Inkjet is a way better special than Splashdown per se, it just isn't as a strong main weapon as Squidward is. So yeah, no, just no. Slosher Deco. This can go to B tier. This is actually a really good kit. Suction Bomb is a good bomb for it, while I would prefer it to have Splat Bomb so it can poke a bit more easier. Rather than just use Suction Bomb as a spacing tool because it cannot combo with Suction Bomb that well. It's not as bad, so it's pretty good. I'd say it's pretty good. And it has 10 missiles, so yeah, 10 missiles. That's all I can really fucking say, just 10 missiles. Slosher Deco can also, I think it can also go up here, honestly. Slosher Deco is a bit more weaker, but Slosher's so strong, and Baller, while not being not being one of the best specials in the game, as of right now currently, it's still really good. Baller does not affect this thing at all. In fact, it just makes it really good. Kind of like how K-Rapid has it. It does not really affect it too much. It actually works really well with it. It can keep it alive. It can be interjective. It can just be used as a panic tool. So yeah, it's not that bad. Slosher, Soda Slosher. This is the S tier. This weapon has Splat. This is the only Slosher that has Splat Bomb, which actually works extremely well with it. And it has so it can combo really well, and it also has a burst bomb rush, which is one of the best bomb rushes in the game. Besides Suction Bomb, is one of the best bomb rushes in the game because Slosher combos off of burst bomb so well in this game. You have no idea. It works extremely well. So yeah, it definitely deserves to be better. Another one that's close to top tier, but nearly not. This was meta at the launch of Splatoon 2's lifespan. This is literally at launch. This is meta. This weapon was meta. Burst Bomb is a really good poking tool for it that I can combo off of, and Ink Armor was just ink armor. So yeah, its kit is really good. It's a strong main weapon too. Tri-Slosher goes into B rank. It's not bad by all means, but Tri-Slosher Vanilla is just such a way better weapon for better sub weapon and a better special. So it's a bit weaker. It's a better main. It's still a good solid main weapon, But as far as Slasher Vanilla, it just has a better kit and it's just way stronger because it actually come off of its breastbone a bit more easier. So yeah, it just goes under. All right, Machine. Another weapon that was meta at Splatoon's early lifespan. Terrible. This is not a good weapon anymore. Stingray is still somewhat of a solid option, but once again, like any other weapon that exists with this weapon, before in the earlier days of Splatoon 2, Stingray could just be used anywhere. It's not even as bad because Stingray just did so much damage. It wouldn't even matter if someone pushed you; they would die before they even be able to get to you if you're aiming right at them. So it wouldn't even matter if they push you; they would probably die or trade at best if they were lucky enough. But in this game, since Stingray has gotten nerfed, Stingray is just not a good special, and because of that, like Deca or any other weapon that is like Squeezer or any other weapon that has Stingray as a shooter or just a weapon that's supposed to be aggressive, it does not work well as any other backlight weapon was, and it has to back up its effective range to do anything. So yeah, no, it's just bad. Slasher Neo can also go up here with it. Spot Bomb Rush is okay. It's not the worst special in the world. Its sub is just no. Why? I don't know why this thing got Ink Mine is just not good. It's just not good for it. This thing needs a bomb to come off of. It's just not a good kit. The main weapon is still somewhat solid, but for the most part, you're not going to see anybody because this thing is just not optimal for it. The only reason this is good is because of Fizzy Bomb. Machine is already a solid weapon, but Fizzy Bomb is the best sub in this game. Like better than Suction Bomb. Like literally better than Suction Bomb. It can spam them effectively. This thing's pain power is insane with Fizzy Bomb. It can spam it effectively. LDE on zones with this weapon, or even with Glugas, is what makes it so strong and it makes it so unplayable. It's absolute hell to deal with sometimes. And it's kind of one of the main things that makes it strong. It has Splashdown, which makes it weaker. If it had any other special to Splashdown, it would definitely be higher. But it has Splashdown, which makes it weak, and Splashdown is just a bad special. So yeah, no. B tier is the highest that thing is going to get. Bloblobber. C tier. This thing is just a pain tool. It is same thing as in 3. Just a pain tool. Literally just a pain tool. It is nothing else. It has Splash Wall, which can protect itself while it's painting or sloshing from a distance. This thing literally is just slosh in one direction, and you just get just either accidentally kill people, or just be extremely annoying. It's just stalling. It's just a stalling tool for like zones. It gets a lot of pain. Bloblobber Deco. Also, I'll put a tier above it. I don't think it's as bad. Sprinkler is not good. It's not really a best sub. It helped, but you have to understand that Blob already paints so much. So having a sub like Sprinkler that helps it paint more definitely puts it a lot higher. And also, it has Suction Bomb, which is one of the best bomb rushes in the game. So you just are able to paint even more than you were before. Explosher, also a B tier. Explosher does have a Sprinkler, but it has a Bubble Blower. Explosher paints so much. And once again, having a sub like Sprinkler that helps it paint even more makes it strong. And Big Bubbler Bubble Blower just kind of makes this thing strong. Like, Bubble Blower is actually just insanely strong on this. So yeah, this and its custom variant just completely wreaks havoc on like most like trigger vision or just zones in general. This weapon can also go into the same tier. It has a point sensor, which is not a bad sub, but it actually, point sensor actually kind of works with Exposure pretty well because this thing literally is made for like just paying over people's speed and just being hella aggressive. It having point sensor is really helpful because this thing is able to slosh over walls and stuff, and so having a sub that allows it to see people through walls and just kind of figure them out from there and just scout them out and just finish them off before they can do anything about it is what makes it really good. And Baller, it has Heavy Baller, which isn't bad, but honestly, Heavy Baller does make it a bit weaker, but it does not matter at all because for the most part, Baller for Exposure is kind of just a panic button, not really anything else. This is a backline one, so yeah. Mini is also a B tier. This thing depends on run speed a lot for sure. Its charge up is still pretty short. It has burst bomb and missiles, which is the best kit like this could have ever gotten. If like vanilla Slosher got this weapon would be like ranked higher. But Mini has it. It calms off a burst bomb really well, and missiles just work really well. This is just Mini K shot, but like it has a better bomb. It doesn't. It still has more points for special than it does K shot, but this thing just but it just does so much, so it doesn't really matter that much anyway. So yeah, Zinc Mini. Oops, I mean to do that. Zinc Mini. Not Zinc. Not Zinc. Fuck. What happened to Zinc Mini? Fuck. Okay, it's right there. All right. Zinc Mini goes right here. No, right here. Zinc Mini goes in Sing Ring. I honestly don't think it's as bad. It has a more worse kit, honestly. I don't really know how to feel about it having rain. And I don't know what Soul Weapon has, but this thing has rain and curling bomb. Okay, yeah, it has rain and curling bomb. I don't know why it has curling bomb. This thing already has so much maneuverability with run speed. What's dependency on run speed? It already moves so much. It does not need a curling bomb. And rain is just an odd special. It's not bad for it, but it's not a good special for it either. So yeah, its kit kind of just makes it weaker. Same thing with Kinza Mini's following. Its kit kind of kills it. It's still a solid main weapon, but it has Toxic Mist, which while isn't bad, it actually can help it kind of punish people. It has Stamp, which is a good special, but for the most part, this is a midliner, not a frontliner. So yeah, it's not as powerful as this weapon. It doesn't have a bomb. That's the problem. It does not have a bomb. At least it's had a bomb. This does not have a bomb. So it just stays in the same rank as Zinc. Vanilla Splatling, it was also another weapon that was meta. It's Splatoon 2's Splatoon 2's lifespan. Early when this game was a bit more younger. This game's lifespan. Stingray was still pretty good at the time, so this was one of the meta weapons. If this was still Minter, and I actually did this rank list a bit earlier, this definitely would probably been still up to X rank, but because Stingray got nerfed, it goes here. So yeah, it's just not good. It's not bad either. Sprinkler is a good special for it, but Stingray just honestly, Charger is just a better Stingray weapon. Jet, it gets outclassed by Jet, which is just a better Stingray weapon. It just farms Stingray so much more better, and because the thing does not have any protect, so it's bad. This can Splatling Deco can also stay here with the same rank. It has a wall and bubble, so it can shred bubbles pretty well. This thing does really good object damage, which isn't bad at all. It does really good object damage. It can shred bubbles pretty well, but it's okay. But for the most part, this thing's kit is mediocre at best. It doesn't really do much. There can be better things for it, and also it isn't good either. Same thing for Remix. Its kit is decent. It's just decent. It's not good, but it's not bad. Still, it's just decent. It has Sprinkler and Booyah Bomb. Booyah Bomb's a good special for this. I think Backline's having Booyah Bomb kind of helped them stay alive a bit longer, especially for Splatlings, which makes it really nice. But Sprinkler kind of just makes this thing a lot more weaker than it needs to be. Not Sprinkler, Point Sensor. This has Point Sensor. What am I talking about? This has Point Sensor, which is still bad. It actually makes it a bit more weaker than anything. Hydra is just, I'm sorry, but no. This is the worst spelling in this entire game because of its kit and its kit alone. Autobomb isn't a bad sub for it because it can still poke things from a distance, and it can, I really don't know. Autobomb feels a bit weird to use on it, and it has Splashdown, which does not work for it at all. I can understand watching being bad on an aggressive weapon because it doesn't work as well as a special, but at the very least they're put on aggressive weapons. This being put on a backline does not make any sense. Like, whatsoever. It makes no sense whatsoever. Splashdown being put on a backline just does not make it. It makes it extremely situational to ever use this thing. I have only seen a handful of people using this thing when I used to play Splatoon 2. I've only seen a handful of people use this thing in pubs, and even then they still don't do that well. They get Splashdown kills anyway. They will only use this to keep themselves alive, like it's a Booyah Bomb in 3, in order to keep themselves alive, and even then they still get killed sometimes. So it just not a good kit for it. And yeah. That being said, Hydra Deco goes up here. It's not bad, but Custom Hydra. Sorry, Custom Hydra. It goes here. It's not bad, but it's not good. Ink Armor is pretty good for it. Ink Mine is also pretty good for it. But it's so slow and missile, and with all the displacement specials that just exist into, it just makes this thing extremely weak, and that's unfortunate because it's actually a really good kit for it. So yeah, unfortunate. Ballpoint is a solid A tier. Both of these actually, I can put both these in A tier. They are both solid weapons, despite the nerfs they have gotten. When these weapons were released, they were both insanely strong, and even today, they are still strong. They have two firing modes. Their long range mode is pretty good. Their kits aren't the best, but they work somewhat well for it. Inkjet on Ballpoint is really nice. I think beacons, it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice for it too. Honestly, I don't think it's too bad. Toximus is also really good for it. These kits don't. I don't know how to feel about rain on Nevaeh, but it's not as bad. So yeah, weapons are still pretty strong though. Their kits aren't that bad. Vanilla Nihilus. I'm sorry. This goes here. This is not good. It's a solid main weapon, but its kit is terrible. Baller is not a good special for it, and it has point sensor. No, just no. It needs a bomb to just do anything really. Nihilus goes over. Nihilus is not actually no. Actually, I can rank this. I can actually rank this at A. A rank is actually really good for this. Nihilus 80. Not Nihilus 87, what is it? Nihilus 89. Nihilus 89 is still pretty good. This is a really good main weapon. And this kit actually works because it has Suction Bomb and Inkjet, which is pretty good for it. Actually really nice for it. Inkjet works pretty well for Nihilus. It can help it be more aggressive. Same thing with Suction Bomb. It can be used as a poking tool and more pain for it. So it's pretty good. It's actually a really nice kit for it, and it allows that weapon to be more aggressive than anything. And it works pretty well. This weapon is just a solid no. I'm sorry, but this kit does not work whatsoever. It has beacons, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but it has fucking. But then it has bomb rush. It has suction bomb, which is why suction bomb is the best bomb rush in the game. This thing is not good at being aggressive. Its dodge rolls barely move anywhere, and it has little to no range. These dodge rolls give it little to no range. It's just not a good main weapon, and this kit just does not help it that much either. So yeah, it's just F tier. This goes in D tier. It's a bit more better. Toximus isn't good for. Toximus is not good stuff for this at all. Honestly, probably one of the worst ones it could ever get. But it has rain, which is a bit more better than bomb rush. Honestly, I'll put this up here. Honestly, I think I'll put this right here. It's not bad whatsoever, but it's just that Blue Nevaeh just needs a bomb. It needs a bomb. And when they do give it a bomb, like they did for Clear Blue, they gave it a torpedo. They ruin it by giving it Splashdown. So yeah, I'm not. Once again, Splashdown, worst special in the game, gets easily canceled. It's easily predictable. It's not fun. This thing works with torpedo really well. It can combo with Splashdown. If you do a Splashdown and you tag someone, you can throw a torpedo to finish them off if it's possible. But even then, it's really situational, and Splashdown gets canceled anyway. So it's just a very situational combo if you ever do get it. So yeah, no. Dualies are honestly a B rank at most. They aren't bad. Missiles are pretty good for it. Breast weapons pretty good for it. They're still solid, but I honestly don't know really feel about dualies. Dualies kind of get outclassed by other weapons that we're going to see here soon. That will be here soon. It gets kind of outclassed. I'm not gonna say it gets outclassed, but there are just other options that are way better for missiles. And dualies is just at most it's painfully mediocre. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it is painfully mediocre. It's doing its job. This is also another meta weapon until Nintendo nerfed its points for special and also nerfed Inkjet in general, which caused it to be weaker. Curling Bomb is not bad for it, but this thing being able to spam Inkjet is what made it so powerful in the mid-term life of Splatoon's golden age, which made it be one of the meta weapons. So it isn't bad, but it isn't good either. And the Dapper dualies can also go in B rank too. All these dualies can really, all the spy dualies kits can just really go to B tier. They aren't bad, but they aren't good either. They have their own niche for each of them. For Kenza, this has Suction Bomb and Baller. It's not the worst thing in the world. Suction Bomb is a really good poking tool. Baller is not, no. Baller is just not a good special for once again. Weapons can be somewhat aggressive with it. I'm pretty sure it has Light Baller. which is somewhat decent for it too. But it's just not really that useful in terms of its own niche. So yeah, no, just does not have a best special. Lugas are C tier. It has Ink Mine, which is it's an okay sub, and it has Inkjet. This thing kind of depends on main power up in order to do a good amount of damage, or really do anything. Its pain power is non-existent. Its dodge rolls are powerful because this thing can 2-shot with a roll if an enemy is like in terms of mid range. It's a 3-shot with fall off, but even then it's still pretty solid, so it's not as bad. Its kick kind of just kills it a bit. This is the Kagao. This is the Kagao of Dualies. So it has Splash Wall and Baller. So it has a tool that can protect itself with, and it has Baller, which is a panic button. This is the Kagao kit of Dualies. So yeah. But transitioning after that, A rank, Kenza Glugas. It has Fizzy and Ink Armor. There's not really much I can say. Kenza Glugas are still a solid main weapon for the most part, but its kit carries it completely. Like it's like Fizzy Bomb is the best special in the game at paying, and you can spam them effectively with LDE and even without LDE. And Armor is just the best special, one of the best specials in the game. So yeah, no, it just goes in the rank because of its kit and it's quite really strong. I was gonna put both of these up here. While both Dual Scorchers and Custom Dual Scorchers are both good because of their kits. Now this does have point sensor, which isn't the worst thing ever, but it has missiles. And Dual Scorchers are such a strong main weapon in itself because of its ability to not have in lag. These are the only duelists in this game that do not have in lag. So you can slide and you can do a jump tag with them, which basically is after you roll, you do a little slide and you press the B button and then start shooting again, and you can do that repeatedly into a loop, and it just makes your swing strong because it actually helps you get in, because you actually have like little to no RNG when firing, and because you have such quick movement, it just makes these creatures so powerful because of their range and the ability to stack a main. Now this does depend on main power up a lot, but it's not bad. It's not bad whatsoever. I think it's actually pretty okay. Not the worst thing ever. CDS has an actual Pokeball bomb, and it has Rain, which isn't the best special for it. It has a bomb, so it's more powerful anyway. And Rain isn't the worst special in the world, and the main power and the main weapon once again is just so strong, so that just does not matter. Tetras are interesting in this game because they're a good main weapon with a good sub, but they're ruined with Splashdown again. It's another weapon that it has a good main, that is a powerful main weapon, and it has a good sub. But the special is what ruins it entirely. Splashdown is so easily cancelable with this thing. It's not even funny. Most of the time you will see Tetris kind of super jump in with a Splashdown, which even then doesn't really do much for the most part. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. Tetris are still pretty powerful even with the fact that they have Splashdown. And in 3 they have a way better special anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much. I think honestly, this is going to B tier, honestly. The main weapon is pretty strong, and All Bomb's actually really good for it too, so I don't think it's that bad. Light Tetra Dualies, C tier. This is not a good kit for it. Unlike Tetra Dualies, unlike Dark Tetris, Light Tetra Dualies just are not, they're just, no. I don't have anything against it. Sprinkler is decent at most for it. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but I do not see anybody using these whatsoever, and I don't think anybody will ever use these anyway. So, yeah, they're not the worst things ever, but its kit kind of just kills it again. Bomb Launcher is the worst thing for it, but Sprinkler is just, no. I don't know why it just has a sub that just does not paint its feet, or a sub that just doesn't do damage to people, or pokes people. It just does not work. Brella would be high. Brella is another weapon that was meta within Splatoon's Golden Age, which was the 3.0s. But because of this game, because of how they got nerfed, mainly their points for special, and I think their damage as well, their damage got reduced from 80 to 70, if I'm correct, or at least 90, or I think 90 to 80. It makes this entirely more weaker, and just does not work for it. It has Sprinkler, which can help paint its feet a bit, but for the most part, it's not strong whatsoever. In fact, it's probably not even good in this game. It has Rain. Rain is not bad for this thing. I think it actually works pretty well for Brella, for commonly and moving under people, but it needs a bomb. which because of this, I'm also going to put Sorella up here with it because it has a good kit, Bomb Rush, and it has Auto Bomb, which is actual bomb, and Splat Bomb Rush actually works well with this thing because it can still use this canopy to help it, and ink refill is really nice as well. This thing is allowed to be can actually be aggressive in comps because it can actually paint, it can actually apply pressure and stuff, unlike this weapon. So yeah, it's still B tier though because the main weapon still is a bit dog shit. 10 Umbrella is a C tier, Vanilla 10 is a C tier. Beacons aren't bad. The problem with it is that it has bubbles, and bubbles aren't really bubbles while being a good special weapon. Rely on bombs. Bubble Blower, in order to be good, relies a lot on bombs. And while it does control a bit of space, eventually, 10 Umbrella is not really going to be able to use them to their advantage that much because the shield already does so much for it, so special isn't really that useful. And beacons are only useful just because they allow to help your team. So it's just not really that good of a main weapon. Its kit is also kind of mediocre. I really don't know how to feel about this weapon whatsoever. It's not bad. Sorella camo isn't. Sorella 10 Umbrella isn't bad either. It has Splash Wall, which is decent for it. I guess it's decent for it. It's not as bad. It already has a wall. I don't think it needs another one. But hey, that's just what I think. And Curling Bomb Rush is just the oddest special I think it could have ever gotten. It's not the worst thing in the world. But Curling Bomb is just no. I don't think Curling Bomb Rush works with it whatsoever. I really don't know. The kid just kind of falls apart with that with Sorella Tina. Camo, I think Camo can go to B tier. It has Ink Mine, which actually works well with 10 Umbrella because 10 Umbrella can work pretty well with Ink Mine in terms of comboing and like just spawning other people and surprising them. And it has Stamp. It can pop its umbrella. It can pop its shield. And then use surprise people with a stamp. So it actually works pretty well with this main weapon, which is probably the only reason why it's even upper. 10 Umbrella is still somewhat of a strong main weapon, but this thing gets hard carried by its kit for sure. Undercut, so I'm just gonna get all these out of the way. 1 and 2. Both of these weapons are just hot trash. Baller is a bad HP special for this. While Sorella does have Light Baller, it's still not enough to really secure this thing's like proper position. Honestly, I'll put it in D tier because it does have an actual kit that helps it. Splat Bomb's a really good poking tool for comboing. At least it has a bomb. Unlike Vanilla, which I'm about to get into, I'm not even going to try to shortcut this. This thing has the worst kit in this entire game. Like, actually, it's worse than Hydra. That's how bad that is. Undercover, Vanilla Undercover has Ink Mine and Splashdown. Ink Mine does not work with this weapon whatsoever. It needs a bomb to combo with because its damage is so low. The main weapon is weak. It literally gets its canopy shredded in less than a second. Fizzy Bomb counters it completely because, reasons. And it has Splashdown, and Splashdown just is not good in this game. So, yeah. And as for Kenza, it literally is only 1 tier above both of these. Or, well, 2 tiers above both of these. Because, it gets hard carried by its kit. Torpedo is a good sub-weapon. Probably one of the few ones that are actually really good. And it has Ink Armor. This weapon gets hard carried by its kit. It still sucks ass. The main weapon still is weak as hell. It can combo with Torpedo, but that's about it. The main weapon still sucks, and it's just not good. So, yeah. And now, last weapon, Kenza Octobrush. I honestly can say this goes in the C tier. It's not the worst weapon in the world. Actually, I'll put it in B tier, honestly. Suction Bomb is really nice for it. It helps with his poking ability to poke us from a distance. And Stamp's actually really good with it because it helps with its aggressiveness even more. Unlike a certain weapon that I'm trying to find right here, unlike this weapon, it actually has a special that it helps it be aggressive. So, yeah. And, yeah, that being said, that's basically every weapon ranked here on this tier list. I don't think any weapon here that's explained should be played in comps. They are really, some of these are comp dependent, some of them are not. I don't think they're the worst thing in the world. Anything that's up above C, that's probably like some weapons in C rank can be used in comps if they're really comp dependent, they're extreme comp dependent. Anything above B rank is really good though. You should definitely use these in comps if you can build around them. And yeah, that being said, that's the entire tier list for Splatoon 2. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Peace.